Hey everybody, it's Colette Baron-Reid. Welcome to the monthly 21 card tarot spread for the energy report of what all of us are going to be experiencing this month. Now, I want to show some of you tarot enthusiasts what I'm doing with this 21 card spread so you understand how this works. So this section here of 9 cards is the first half of the month. The center 3 cards are the hidden influences, things that are going behind the scenes. And this is the second half of the month. The four corners give us the foundation. Basically, are we in alignment, out of alignment? What are we looking at? And then I look at the cards in a different way, and I sort of see the pictures and images that come up from the cards that I can't teach you how to do because you're not in my head. So anyway, but let's actually look at the cards. We have 4 corners of this month, right? So movement, Chariot is victory. The Chariot card is the card of victory. It's the card of movement. We've moved forward. This is a major arcana card. We know that this card proves and promises to us that this journey that we're on is actually culminating in success, right? So that's the first corner. Bottom, the Queen of Pentacles always represents that feminine energy that is very earthy and grounded. And it's about being grounded and being realistic as well, too. So this is a beautiful, sensual queen that is also at the foundation of this month. Then over here, we have the Angel of Temperance. Now here we have the diagonal. We have 2 major cards. So this is this angel who always tells us that we must be patient and that rushing forward is not necessarily going to be the way forward. But if we are patient and painstaking and really taking our lives that one day at a time every day, we get to a place where we feel that we have made not only progress, but we've changed, things have changed. Up in the corner there, I love it. I always call it the marriage card because I'm always happy there. I love being married. So we all have our own, special, I guess, inner meanings of the cards as well as the traditional meanings. But I always love the 4 of Wands when it comes up because it says to me, this also culminates in a celebration. And there's a community there. It's not just, nobody is solitary here. Although the angel is solitary, the Chariot's driven by, a solitary, being, and then we've got the Queen. So here it's like, we come together. So there's our unification in this month of March. So we know, right? And we're also in this mystical, dreamy element of Pisces. We're also going to head into Aries at the end of the month. So we want to recognize that these influences all come together in this reading. So first 2 weeks of the month, I'm just going to read these as they come up for me. So there's a lot of dreaming, makes sense. The Piscean, the 7 of Cups is like, am I dreaming about castles in the air? Is this really going to happen? Are we going to get out of this? Is this going to be good? There's insecurity there. Even though the Chariot says, oh, yes, we're moving forward. We actually have to allow ourselves to move through grief. We have to allow ourselves to move through our fears, our insecurities. They're there. We can't bypass them. We're seeing difficult things happening to a lot of people in our communities around the world. For those of us, depending on where you live in the world, there's no such thing as being away from chaos right now. So we have to assume that we know what this feels like now because we've been in it for quite some time. What's beautiful about this is the next grouping here, because the Hierophant or the Pope brings in that, for me, it's the higher power card. It's the reminding myself that my primary purpose is to be here and be the best me I can be, which means to do some of the work, which is clearing away the debris and making sure that I'm in alignment with what's best for everyone, not just for me. So that will come with a price, right? So when we don't always like it, it feels uncomfortable. There's a sense of, I didn't know this. There's the insecurity of having not known, I should have known, etc. And this is a lot also about the social justice movement. This is a lot about the pandemic. This is a lot about the things that are kind of common for everybody right now as we make big changes to our society. This is all positive, though. There's nothing negative here. It's more like, okay, I can get through this. And I know it's made me insecure because we haven't rebuilt anything just yet. We're still between dissembling or taking things away and rebuilding in a way that makes it feel right for everybody. And it's not always the same for everybody, right? We all have these different facets of a diamond. different ways of seeing the world. So this is a reminder of that we don't have to see things the exact same way. There's a danger here of being forced into this homogeneity of we all have to see this the same way. In fact, it's the creativity that comes together with diversity is what makes things rich and amazing. So we are going to, the first 2 weeks of March are still a little difficult. As I said, insecurities, kind of the sense of like taking stock of what's not working. And it also is a reminder not to gossip. Whenever I see this card with the insecurity card, it's like, keep, head down, do your own work, and don't point fingers. This is the other thing that's coming up although there can be a lot of finger pointing too when this comes up for us. Now, we are moving out of stalemate. Beautiful, beautiful as well. There's a sense of like, I can't move forward. I don't know what I'm doing. Is this the way it's always going to be? And there's still that a little bit, as I said, insecurity going into the first 2 months of March, wherever you are in the world. It's still up. It's the collective energy of not really trusting. And then the reminder is you don't trust the outer conditions. You don't trust people. You have to trust the higher power to work through people. And also to have your own personal relationship to your higher power. This is also an indicator that the pendulum is everything is extreme, and there's a warning as well. This is, that you don't feel grounded when you're in the extremes. And so to remember that the pendulum will always find its center again, and that you are on a ride, and not to take it personally. This is actually quite a beautiful first 2 weeks, although, as I said, there's going to be a little bit of insecurity. Finances are going to be a conversation as well, too. Business finance. There's going to be all kinds of new ideas. And this will be interesting because I do tend to look at this not just as an energy report, but also sometimes I see things that we might read in the news or whatever. Like I remember doing the first 6 months reading and I talked about aliens. And I never talk about aliens. And then I read somewhere, it's not in the mainstream media, about, I think the CIA opened up their vaults and all this information came out. It was really interesting, but it's not making the mainstream news. So you also have to know as well, too, look beyond the mainstream, look beyond, and be discerning about what you read, too. Be discerning. But this does say new ideas, new interesting ideas. Page of Swords is also the card of new ideas that help us move away from insecurity as well, too. Although the two together, and this tends to say to me, you don't want to gossip. But that said, too, right, this is good news that comes out of left field as well, too. Moves us out of the stalemate and relates to our sense of how we connect and communicate with the energy of the universe that brings us together as a whole. On the second half of the month, it's fun. The very last, I love these last cards because I always look at the King of Wands as an Aries card, right? Because he's the King of Fire. And of course, we are moving into Aries at the end. My husband's an Aries. You guys hear me say that all the time. But this is actually the second half of March is when it starts to get pretty good. So we're out of what we would call the woods, if you will. These new ideas here have actually come to fruition on this side. So who knows what that could be? It could be scientific, could be some type of intellectual property, because typically the Swords is about the mind and ideas that are shared, that are good for all of us, that take us out of this insecure space. So the second half is about the sense of security that we have. Now, those two cards together tell me that there's a fear of financial insecurity, right? Now, we know that that's happening all over the place, but this is also about new partnerships that are coming in to help alleviate that. So for a lot of people, there's help coming in the month of March, in the second 2 weeks of March, that will help alleviate the burden of financial insecurity. Now, this is also, too, the Five of Pentacles. The story is about the people who they weren't allowed into the church. And usually, the poor, when it was a cold night, they could sleep in the church. This is back in medieval times, right? If you were not allowed in the church, this meant you could lose your life. So this is also a sense of having felt left out, or having felt like you got shut out, and that is changing now. So for those of you who that resonates with, it feels like you're going to have some kind of really good quality evidence that this is changing for you. And just for the rest of us, it feels like we get to leave our houses. It's the other thing here. So it could be that a lot of places go out of lockdown. Again, I don't know until it actually happens. I like to look, hindsight is 2020, to see how accurate the readings are, right? But it does look like there's some really good, solid evidence that we are moving into safer territory, into a more celebratory territory for us, where we feel like, wow, I am actually getting out of trouble, moving away. The Six of Swords always tells me that. And then when it's at the basis of the world, which is really all of us, a sense of unity, it's a bigness to it, right? It's like, all of us. The Nine of Cups there's a happy quality to it. So there's a sense of relief coming towards the end of March that is palpable, and we really feel it. Again, the last cards, it's worth having been waiting, was worth waiting for, is what this is saying. The King of Wands also comes in with the Four of Wands, and Temperance also as an energy of ambition. And it's a good quality ambition because it serves the whole, serves the community. It feels like the happy marriage in some way. So we're going to really start to see, you guys are from like 50 plus countries that watch these videos, so it doesn't matter where you are, because I'm not talking about specific geography, but you'll start to see that, and you'll notice how these energy reports meet us in the news or in different news outlets that you could look at or find, because they tell us, oh yeah, that's what Colette said in that. So these are all new things that we can look forward to in March. Again, some difficulty still. So let's look at what's hidden from us. Okay, so the good news is that two or more of the major arcana cards are what's working behind the scenes. One is the Sun and one is the Star. So we're looking at the Sun card, which is life-giving force. Like, it's the life force energy that makes all of us, gives us everything, gives us our lives. It also gives us our identity, right? So the idea that the sun comes, there's a small child on the back of the horse. It's like the sun is shining on you and all is well. And the Star, which is an interesting Aquarian card here, but the Star lets us reach for the stars. It says, go beyond what your best is. There's things going to happen that are even better than what we were hoping for. And this is still under the surface of things. And the Seven of Pentacles, which is a choice between two, you've worked really hard for this. So it's the collective angst, if you will, of having to work so hard and are so tired. But underneath this tired quality of like, wow, I don't know, should I take this one, this now? Do I take this one? What are the two choices that I have? Like, I'm too tired to choose. And so here we have all this really beautiful energy that's pushing us forward, even if we're tired of it all. And we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. This actually says, oh, no. This is all part of the big picture, this beautiful reworking of things, that the reweaving of the life that we live, and not all of it is ours to do. We all think it's, oh my God, this is the burden that we all have on our shoulders, or how are we going to get out of this? What's going to happen? And in fact, it's saying, just remember your higher power. Your higher power is working. The system is shifting, and there's lots of work to be done, but the energy behind the impulse to make these changes is there. It's got momentum. There's momentum here, and it's good for everybody, not just for some people, which is what this reading is reminding us. And also to realize too, in the first 2 weeks, I want to go back to that because that's the more challenging time, is the first 2 weeks of March. There's, whenever the Page of Swords shows up in this kind of grouping for me, there's sometimes, even though there's great ideas, there can be also the shadow version of this, is that we could have undue criticism of others because we take things personally, or we're too scared to do it ourselves, so we blame somebody else, or we feel guilty, so we're going to blame somebody else, or we're going to make them wrong so nobody looks at us. So there is a tendency here, when things aren't going well, is to look for someone to blame. That is not going to work. But this is now much more about an invitation to come together as opposed to do that. So Allow other people's ideas to come to the surface and realize that it's a really important time for more nuanced conversations. As I said, the pendulum swings on both directions, extremes, it can go both ways, and all of a sudden somewhere in the middle is where the conversation needs to be had. But it's important that these swings happen so that we see the spotlight shows us the rifts, if you will, or the chasm that we didn't notice before got bigger, and now we want to bring it together. So it's about time of bridge building as well. The second half of the month of March. The first half, I look at this and go, you know what? I'm just going to hunker down and do the best I can and serve my community the best I can, the way I'm supposed to, and help where I can, help others. And then on the second half, it's like, okay, we all seem to be a little bit more on the same track. We're still a little divided, and now we're getting back a little bit more on the same track over here. And these are fantastic cards that are working in our favor behind the scenes. Again, you know, what did I expect? The Seven of Pentacles for me. Again, there's lots of traditional meanings for the card all by itself, but when I see it in this conversation, it's like, yeah, choices to be made. This is all about the choices that we need to make, and we're afraid to make the wrong one. And we have to trust that there is an impulse, an impetus, an energy that's moving our engine forward, and we won't make the wrong choice. So we just have to trust that. And we can always choose again anyway. But ultimately, this is pretty good. First couple months, we can do it. We can do it. Band together.
Hey, Colette, I really like your good tarot deck.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to pick 3 cards for basically what else do we need to know? What have I not seen? And here we go. Transformation, which is the death card in the traditional card deck. 4 of Earth, that's the same. Oh, no, that's good. Oh, no, we have, right this, 4 of Earth together. Oh. And the Star. So 2 of the cards are the same. 4 of Earth, which is the 4 of Pentacles, and the Star card. See these? And that one was right there. So those are the 2, because we picked them twice. Yeah. So we know that security is there, and the Star is don't be afraid to reach for the stars. But it's also the Aquarius card, all that Aquarian energy. Even though we're in Pisces in March, and then in Aries, we have to remember this is for the better of all of us, not just some, for everybody. So that reminds us that. And transformation is exactly, this is death of the old, rebirth of the new.
I like your card better than the Tower card.
For those of you who work with tarot, you can actually work with the good tarot exactly as you would a normal tarot deck with traditional. It's just I decided to, you know me, I like to innovate.
Yes.
I like to innovate.
Love it.
Okay. See you
Shall we
next
go?
time. Yes, we should go.
Where are we going?
I didn't mean me. I didn't mean me. Okay, so if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Just, you know, hit that button and the bell will come up and you'll get a notification when my videos are up. I hope you like seeing these things. Please leave me a comment. We actually really love reading your comments, honestly. And I'm going to see you next time. Take care.